It means like, what am I doing the other 15 hours of the day? Oh my God, I'm in lack, I'm in fear, I'm responding to the same people in the same ways. And you gotta think about this. As long as your response to everything in your life is the same, you're not changing.
Right.
So change your response to things in your life and you're in the process of change. So then, now I gotta get good with my eyes open. Now I gotta be able to rehearse, oh my God, I fell from grace at that moment in my day. Oh my God, I defaulted back to the old self.
Forgive yourself, yeah.
All right, no, so it's not only forgive yourself, like there's a forgiving process, like shoot, but if you're truly playing the game, who cares, right? You just go, oh God, let me brush myself off.
Get back to it.
Let me get back in my heart here. Let me get back in that place. Let me get back in this energy, and let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Yes.
And let's just keep the experiment going. Now, does that mean you have to be irresponsible? No, you still have to navigate with ethics and morality. You still have to have personal conviction. You still have to have a vision that's bigger than you and somehow that motivates you, because not only you're doing it for selfish reasons, but to contribute to others in some way. Of course, there's going to be recognition and popularity and aggrandizement that goes with it. And money should be the side effect of all that. The game should be so good of your vision, like that vision of the future, you have to keep alive in your mind.
That should be the game. The ones that can keep that vision of the future in their mind now.
Exactly.
And have a personality.
Even if your reality is falling apart, and that's happened to a lot of people. I mean, there are people that come to our work that were living in the back of their car.
Right.
And now they're, living very well or bankrupt. And now their companies are just thriving. Yeah. They just never stopped believing in themselves, because if you believe in yourself, it means you have to believe in possibility. And if you believe in possibility, you're going to have to believe in yourself. And so something really cool happens when you do this that I just discovered recently, just watching people at our week-long events, because you got to go all in. You got to go all in. And it's 7 days and it's a lot and it's super intense, and there's times where you don't want to show up because I'm pushing people across the river of change. There comes a moment where people keep showing up for themselves. They keep showing up for themselves in spite of the weather, in spite of their foot hurting, in spite of their bad dream, in spite of the whatever, their fight with or whoever. They keep showing up. They get really worthy to receive. They feel really worthy, like I am worthy to receive this gift. And the universe only gives us what we think we're worthy of receiving, right? So we got to get to that point, because so many people who are in lack somehow don't feel worthy, right? So the abundance then becomes the sign that you finally become worthy. And for the soul, it's not about the abundance. It's about mastering your worthiness. And the reflection is the things that you accumulate.
What's the strategy to start believing we're worthy of receiving now?
Fill your brain with as much knowledge as possible. Listen, my dad used to say this to me all the time. He'd say, wait a second. Just sit down with me here. If anybody else can do it, you could do it also. Well, let's just start there. So how did these people do it? Like, let's look at what they did. Right. All right, let's study. This is a school of greatness. Let's study greatness. What is greatness? Like an uncompromising will, invincibility, lead with their heart, adapt and make changes, let go of the past, give life, live it fully and completely, and embrace it and enjoy it. I don't know, whatever, you get to write the script.
Yeah.
And you tell the story of your future instead of telling the story of your past. Watch what happens.
Gosh. So should we be speaking to others about our future, or should we be more keeping that to our mind and our bodies and kind of speaking it to ourselves? What happens when you say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and this is my future? Does that actually hurt us?
Question. Yeah, so I really don't leak it out. I never leak it out, because if I'm working on something, I hold it, right? I don't want to. When I know it's going to happen, that's when I'll say, hey, you guys, you're not going to believe this, right?
So it's more to yourself.
Right. Listen, you know when you're changing? When you stop talking about it. That's when you know you're changing, because you're out of the bleachers and you're on the playing field. Look, so many people come to our work, Lewis, and they say, I always believed that this was possible, all this information. It seems I've seen people heal themselves, people create well. I get it. didn't believe it would work for me. Oh, it's a big moment. It's a big moment. Now you are on the game. You're in the playing field. You're out of the bleachers. Like we had people stand on the stage. Someone stand on the stage this weekend in Denver. Just said, "My God, I really believe that this would work. I just didn't believe I could heal. I really didn't believe it. I really didn't believe." She was a physician. Is a physician. I really didn't believe I could heal. Now, is it about the healing anymore? It's about overcoming the belief. And every day, she's got to make that decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision is causing her body to respond to her mind. And that's the moment she's rewriting the belief. And if she doesn't feel like it, don't expect anything to occur in your life. You got to come out of your resting state. You got to make that choice.
What do you, for all the people that go to your events, and just in life, one of the biggest challenges people have is the consistency of doing these things. Yeah. It's hard to actually go and try it once.
No, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Yeah. Let's just say you're in the experiment, and now that belief is right in your face. I guarantee you that discomfort from that belief being right in your face is going to get you out of bed in the morning, and you're going to face off with it. There's an innate capacity that we have as human beings to want to overcome our limitations. It's in there, right? So the community that we have that does this work, they're not like, oh God, I gotta go create today. That's not their game. The magic is so good. They show up because they don't want the magic to end.
To go away, yeah.
They're not doing it as a have to please God, do the right thing, be spiritual. None of that. It's not an obligation. It's something that they actually look forward to doing because the experiment in their life is creating all these wonderful opportunities. And there's plenty of people in our work that started new businesses that are they're jamming. Yeah. They're jamming. And they would never be victim to those circumstances, right? They just wouldn't let those circumstances define them, right?
Yes.
What defined them was the vision of the future. And that vision they had to keep alive, and the emotion was the energy that drove them right to it.
If you enjoyed that interview, then I know you'll love what we have coming up right now.
There was a researcher out of Yale University that in the 1940s that was studying electromagnetic fields around living organisms. And in the 1940s at Yale University, nobody was doing this, and he was a vitalist. He wanted to understand the unseen fields around living organisms. So he started studying eggs, all kinds of eggs. Chicken eggs, swallow eggs, reptile eggs, snake eggs, salamander eggs, there's all kinds of eggs. And he was using a magnetometer, and what he found was 100% of the time, no matter what egg he measured, the positive charge was always at the head, and the negative charge was always at the tail. Well, if you have positive charge on one end and negative charge on the other end, you got an external electromagnetic field called the magnetic field. That's a magnet, right? What happens with human beings is every thought has a frequency. Every thought produces a chemical. So if you keep obsessing about your lack of finances, your lack of time, your lack of energy, lack, and those thoughts.
I don't have this, I need this,
What are the chemicals you're feeding your body? You're taking thought, it's producing a frequency, and that frequency in the form of chemistry is storing that thought emotionally right in your second center. You feel guilty, you feel unhappy. The moment you feel unhappy, then you generate more thoughts equal to that feeling, which makes more chemicals, and you keep taking energy from the brain and storing it in the body. If you react to people in your life and you feel anger, frustration, whether it's traffic, the news, whatever it is,
parents,
whatever, you're drawing from this field, this electromagnetic field, you're tapping that resource and you're making chemistry out of it and the field shrinks. So now, by doing that and living in survival, the body no longer is a magnet. So now you have very little energy in the brain. In fact, 5% of the energy is in the brain, and 95% is stored in the body. Now the body's been conditioned emotionally. So a lot of energy in the body, very little in the brain. So in our work,
Do we want energy to be in the brain?
We want to move energy back up to the brain. So,
what does that do when we move the energy from the body to the brain or the heart?
Well, this is a great thing because once it makes it here, it's going up, right? So we do these different meditations and these different techniques to draw that energy right up to the top of the head. Now, when this energy shakes loose and it starts to move, the sympathetic nervous system switches on. And instead of releasing energy out like you're being chased by a predator or you're having an orgasm, that same energy is going up into the brain, and the brain switches on and it goes into these very high frequencies called gamma brainwave patterns. Now the person has an arousal, but the arousal isn't fear.
Not an orgasm.
Well, in the brain.
An orgasm of the mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's energy that's being released into the brain, and you can only describe it as ecstasy or bliss. So the energy of guilt that was stored from thinking and feeling in the same way releases and it travels up to the brain and is going back. And when it reaches the brain, what happens? You get more energy in the brain and it begins to produce that external field. So you're beginning to create a field around your body.
You can imagine the future as opposed to staying in something from the past.
Well, once the energy's moved, you're going to feel pretty blessed in that moment. In fact,
so we can transfer guilt, shame, insecurities into bliss.
Oh my God. Yeah, we do it all the time.
Momentarily?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we do it all the time. And the amazing thing is that rush of energy that's moving into the brain is changing the brain's physiology and producing that field. And now you have energy to heal. Now the body is a magnet again. And it's as the energy moves up the spinal cord and it starts passing through those spinal nerves, and there's a lot of dynamics going on the body. That energy that was once stored in that one of those energy centers that's released is energy to heal, energy to create a new future. You're replenishing your field, and now the body becomes more of a magnet instead of an inert piece of metal with no charge, right? So the person then who's reacting to whatever person or circumstance in their life, the stronger the emotion that they feel towards politics, towards the traffic, towards their girlfriend,
social
towards their
media,
ex, whatever, the more they're paying attention to it. But where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So we also know that when...
It's hard to create from a place of putting attention towards negative energy.
Well, you're not creating. What you're doing is you're tying up your vital life force. You're giving your power away to that person or that circumstance that you could be using to create a new life with. So when a person's sitting in their meditation, and I love doing this, we just had an event in Marco Island. I'm going to take people further than where they normally go. I know they're going to go, oh, well, I'm done with my meditation. No, you're not done. We're going to take you to that point where that feeling is so in your face and you can't turn on your cell phone. You can't get up and walk away because 1,000 people are not getting up and walking away and you're part of the community. You're sitting in the fire and you have one of two choices. You can let that brain run on programs and hardwired patterns, and the arousal will drive your brain further out of bounds, or you'll practice the formula.